Everybody, peace. Welcome to the Started Broadview Basketball Live Show. Wherever or have you're listening, we're so grateful to have you here with us. As you guys know, I'm your host, Sean Cottle, and we have got some very exciting news that we're going to cover today. Listen, this is going to be a quick show, but I really wanted to use this show as a backdrop to talk about what I imagine every basketball analyst and journalist is going to be discussing today, and that is the reaction to Victor Wembanyama's first NBA game against the Dallas Mavericks last night on ESPN. So we're going to cover that in our first topic, and then later on the show we're going to recap some of the more interesting games from the week or from the day. One of those being the matchup between the Clippers and the Blazers, as well as the other ESPN matchup between the Celtics and the Knicks. So that being said, guys, let's go and get right into it. But before we get started, if you haven't already, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well, so you guys can stay updated on all of our latest content. Be sure to follow us on Patreon as well. You can do so by going to patreon.com, clicking on the search bar, and typing in "Sorry to Bother You" show. That way you can gain access to all of our exclusive content that we post daily. And if you'd like to support our network and our company, you can do so by following the link in the ticker below. It's streamelements.com/sorrytobotheryoushow/tip. Once again, it's streamelements.com/sorrytobotheryoushow/tip. None of this is possible without you guys, the fans. So we're just so grateful and honored for all the love and support that you show us, because it's a pleasure to have this platform to share pro-truth, unbiased, and objective insight on the world of sports and the world of basketball and everything that we cover in life, with the art, finances, fashion, music, news, history, religion, whatever. Everything's pro-truth, unbiased, and objective. So we're grateful to share this platform with you guys. So that being said, let's go and get right into it. As I said, we're going to use this episode primarily just to cover our reaction to Victor Wembanyama's first game as an NBA player. And as you guys know, the Spurs lost to the Mavericks last night by a score of 126-119. Though it was a highly contested game through and through. There were points in the game where San Antonio did look physically dominant and they looked efficient offensively. But listen, I'll start with the Spurs and then I'll move over to Dallas. So start with the Spurs. Everyone's talking about Victor Wembanyama. So Victor Wembanyama was in foul trouble. He had 5 fouls, but he did finish the game with 15 points. He had 6 points in the first half, and obviously had 9 points in the second half. And if I'm not mistaken, all 9 came in the fourth. He also tallied. We'll look at the number of blocks he had. He had 1 block, 5 turnovers, and 5 rebounds and 2 assists. Went 3 of 5 from 3-point line, over 1 from free throw line. Just like with any rookie, we never want to put too much pressure. We never want to look too much into the bad, and we do want to praise the good, but not put it on a pedestal. Just like with any rookie, when we want to do that with Victor Wembanyama as well. There were flashes where you said to yourself, okay, this is why he's the number 1 pick. Okay, he just blocked Kyrie on the opening shot, and his wingspan covered 10 feet to get to the shot. Okay, that's why he's the number 1 pick. But then you see moments where, okay, that's a bad foul. That's a bad reach. Why didn't he just go straight up? Why did he pass up that shot? He needs to go up stronger. You see moments like that as well from rookies that make you say, okay, he's a rookie. He's got a lot more to grow, a lot more learning to do. But you see the flashes. I saw flashes that made me say to myself, okay, this is why he's the number 1 pick. This is why he could be a generational talent. And what we talked about when Victor Wembanyama first got drafted by the Spurs, I said that his impact isn't going to be on the offensive end. He's never going to be a 30-point scorer in this league. He might have a year where he does that, which is phenomenal, but that's not going to be what he's known for. His impact is going to be on the defensive end. His ability to disrupt shots, disrupt teams' entire offensive schemes. And what you saw within the first 5 minutes of the game, he did that. Dallas was really trying to figure out how to attack him. And they realized that with him in the game, you couldn't really go into your mid-range. You really couldn't go with anything off the dribble, especially with anything that was on his side of the court. or that's his side of the lane, whatever side of the lane he's playing on. And what San Antonio did a great job of doing, they really played him into like a center fielder type position, where he's just kind of roaming the paint, roaming the on the defense side of the ball, and that allows him to be in help side at all times. But because he's so long, he can contest so many shots, and he can get to the help side. He can contest from the help side and recover much quicker than guys are used to because of his length as well. And that's where his impact, that's where his presence is going to be felt on the defensive side over the course of his career. And we look at the stat line, and there should never be a game where he only has one block. He should always have more than one block throughout the course of his career. I'll say this: by the time it's all said and done, God forbid any injuries or anything else like that happens, Wembanyama should be the all-time leader in blocks when he retires. If he doesn't, anything short of that is unfortunate. But that's how much potential he has. He has the potential to be an outstanding defensive player. He still needs to get a little quicker. Things that rookies need to do. They need to get quicker. They need to get stronger. They need to be more decisive with playmaking. They need to limit turnovers. Those are normal things. We got to remember Wembanyama's 18 years old. But I saw flashes. I saw the flashes that I needed to see. And his touch looks phenomenal. Listen, she shot 3-5 from 3-point line. It looked fluid. His shot did. It didn't look clunky. It looked in rhythm. And listen, in the San Antonio Spurs offense, he's not going to. You very rarely see someone shoot more than 20 times a game, and you're not going to get that. You're not going to get that. As long as Pop is there, you're not going to get that. But defensively, on the defense side of the ball, that's why I was impressed with Wembanyama. And granted, now this is a Dallas team that doesn't have much of a low post presence as is. I would love to see Wembanyama match up against some sort of low, even in Chicago with Andre Drummond. I would love to see Wembanyama match up against a team that has some sort of low post presence. But I was impressed with what I saw. Like I said, I saw flashes of his ability to disrupt Dallas's entire offense for the first 5 minutes, but then Dallas started to realize, okay, wait, hold on, this Wembanyama isn't that strong, so we can get into his body. He's not that quick, so we can still attack him off the dribble, then get into his body on create contact on the drive, and go up on the layup, and that's what it was, and that's where he's gonna have to improve. He's gonna have to get a little bit quicker foot speed. He's gonna have to get a little stronger, especially in low post, because the moments he was in the low post and he caught it, he wasn't able to back down anybody or any other low post players for Dallas. And so that's one thing he's going to have to improve on. And obviously foul trouble, just moving his hips. He should never really be in foul trouble because he's so long. His length should always be used to an advantage for him. But that tells me he's reaching too much, and he's not relying on his length. And that comes down to detail. That comes down to focus. And that comes down to being intentional with each possession. Because the rookies, they have lapses from possession to possession. But the greats, the all-time greats, the veterans, they don't take mental lapses. They're locked in possession and possession. And that's what separates those great players. And if he wants to get to that level, Wembanyama, then he's simply have to learn to not have those mental lapses and be locked in from possession to possession. But it's capable. He's capable of doing that. I see it, and I see the flashes, and that's what you want to see. I was able to see the flashes. And we look at Dallas. Listen, Dallas hasn't really fixed anything from the defensive end. Listen, they still give a lot of points, but listen, they can score the best of them with Kyrie Irving and Doncic. However, I was impressed with Dallas's ball movement. There was a little bit more ball movement compared to what we saw last year. Will this be consistent, though? That remains to be seen. Listen, Luka had 33 points and 10 assists and 13 rebounds. And Kyrie Irving had 22 points, 6 assists. Only shot 10 and 24, but Luka shot 13 and 25. So they're not terrible numbers. Kyrie only shot 1 of 8 from the 3-point line. So that's not going to happen too often. But however, I just don't think Dallas. Does anyone really think Dallas is going to be a playoff team this year? Listen, we've got Denver, we've got Phoenix, we've got Sacramento, we've got the Lakers, we've got the Warriors, we've got Minnesota, we've got Memphis. That's 7 right there. We've got OKC. That's 8. We've got New Orleans. Healthy. Assuming. That's 9. And see how we keep going down and down. And then maybe you want to throw Dallas, and that's 10. And then where do we go from there? Maybe Houston? I don't think so. Houston might, well, it's going to make tremendous improvements, but I don't think they'll be a playoff team yet. But this is how things can, there's a lot, the top to bottom, there's a lot of talent in the West. A lot of teams are vying for playoff position, and Dallas, solely based on what I saw yesterday, didn't make the necessary adjustments and additions to truly contend, legitimate contention. And when I say legitimate contention, I'm talking about you're in that 1-6 range for the playoffs, and you're not in the play-in tournament. They're not there yet. Dallas is in the top 16 right now. But I will say this: if they could make adjustments on the defensive end and just show more effort, I mean, goodness, there are far too many instances where San Antonio got easy points in transition because no one simply stopped the ball. And obviously having Dwight Powell back at center will help him. I know he's out now with the illness, but getting him back will hopefully shore up the defensive end for Dallas. But listen, Dallas isn't going to go anywhere, just no matter who's on the roster, if they can't stop the ball in transition and if they can't play defense. Not only in most of playing these days is done in the secondary break. So if they can't shore up their transition defense, particularly their secondary break defense, their secondary defense, then it doesn't matter. They're not going to be able to. They're not going to contend, and that is what it is. That's just that's the nature of it. But let me know what you guys think. What did you guys think about Dallas? What did you guys think about Wemby's first game? Let me know what you guys think. Leave your thoughts in the chat room. I'd love to hear all about it. But guys, in our second segment, we're just going to be discussing the matchup between the Clippers and the Blazers real quickly. So be sure to stick around for that, guys. You're not going to miss it. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. In case you missed the first segment of our show, we just discussed our initial reaction to Victor Wembanyama's first game as an NBA player, what we saw, and what our initial reaction is. We don't want to praise the good too much, and we don't want to critique the bad too much. Listen, we expect rookies to show flashes of why they were drafted. And we also expect them to show flashes of why they're still rookies and why there's still room for improvement. And Victor Wembanyama is no different. I saw a lot of flashes though, especially on defense. Man, I saw his potential and what he can be, and what impact he can have, not just on the San Antonio Spurs, but also in the league as a whole. And in this second segment, guys, we are just going to be discussing the recap between the Clippers and the Blazers. The reason I want to cover this game is because obviously the Clippers were involved in. Sorry, not the Clippers. My apologies. The Blazers were involved in the biggest trade of the offseason, sending Damian Lillard to the Milwaukee Bucks. And these New York Blazers have DeAndre Ayton in at the center position, obviously Anthony Simons and Scoot Henderson in the backcourt, followed by Matisse Thybulle playing at 3 and Jeremy Grant playing like the 4-ish slot, like 3-4. So Portland is quite small on the perimeter, outside of DeAndre Ayton. Small, relatively, right? Small. And they went up against this Clippers team with Westbrook and George and Leonard and Zubac and Covington, a team that I think is going to be the best. Sorry, we didn't even bring up the Clippers when I was talking about the best teams in the West, but I do think the Clippers were the best team in the West as well. Listen, Clippers won this game by a score of 123 to 111. Westbrook had 11 points and 13 assists. Zubac had 20 points and 12 rebounds. Phenomenal game. Leonard had 23 points, 6 rebounds. Paul George had 27 points and 6 assists. Covington had 5 points. Bones Highland had 17 points coming off the bench. He has made a tremendous amount of improvement in this offseason, and I believe that Ty Lue is now comfortable with Bones Highland being his backup point guard. And listen, Plumlee had 6 points and 8 rebounds off the bench. Batum played well, had 3 rebounds and steal and assist. And this Clippers team is going to be one of the best teams in the Western Conference, and they're in the win now mode as well. That window is very much closing for Paul George and Kawhi Leonard in terms of their dynamic partnership. Don't know how many more years you're going to allow. You're going to keep this core together before you rebuild. If you're Steve Ballmer, owner of the Clippers. But I was impressed with what I saw from Portland as well. They had a lot of fight. Listen, Shaedon Sharp came off the bench and had 20 points. Sorry, said 14 points. But Malcolm Brogdon, 6th man of the year, had 20 points off the bench, with 5 assists as well. And Robert Williams had 10 points as well coming off the bench. This is going to be a great team. Listen, this Portland team, they might not make the playoffs, but they could very well make the play-in tournament at with the highest potential. But Chauncey Billups now has a group of guys that can play within his system that's more ball movement oriented, ball movement in the sense of wing to wing, less DHO. You see a lot of dribble handoffs these days, but there's less DHOs and more cuts, more reads on pin downs and staggers. And it's great to see, because this is going to be a good Portland team. They're not going to be an easy, this isn't going to be a team that you circle on your schedule for an easy win. And this Portland team is going to be very good. I'm not saying they're going to make the playoffs, but at best they can make the play-in tournament. And I'm excited to see this Portland team, especially in the future. But I just want to cover this match real quick, guys. We're going to take a real quick break, and then we're going to cover the other ESPN matchup between the Celtics and the Knicks. So, guys, be sure to stick around for that. You're not going to miss it. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. In case you missed the previous segment of our show, we just discussed the recap between Clippers and the Blazers, and as well as our reaction to Wembanyama's first game in the NBA, what we saw, and what we expect to see in the future. And in this segment, guys, we're just going to close out with a quick recap of the matchup between the Knicks and the Celtics. The first game that was played on ESPN last night. As you guys know, the Celtics won a very close game by a score of 108 to 104. It was the first game for Boston with the additions of Jrue Holiday as well as Kristaps Porzingis. And speaking of Kristaps Porzingis had 30 points last night, which is the most for a Celtics player in an opening game against his former team. I know, very, very nuanced and specific stat right there, but still a stat nonetheless. And Kristaps looked. I love the way that Boston is using Kristaps in this offense, allowing him to play not just from the low post, but from the mid post as well. When he was in Washington, I didn't see that. In Dallas, I definitely didn't see that, but he didn't touch the ball at all when he was in Dallas. But I'm glad that they're allowing him to play in the mid post. It does look like Kristaps has put on a little bit more muscle, so he's able to be more physical with the opposing teams, especially on the rebounding aspect of it. He had 8 rebounds last night, 30 points, and they're allowing him to shoot the threes. He shot 5 of 9 from the 3-point line, 8 of 15 from the field. He's your stretch center. They're allowing him to play what New York did and what Dallas did. They wanted him to play in a low post, but that's just not what Kristaps does, and that's okay. You gotta put your players in positions that are advantageous for them, and that's what Boston did. It appears, if we're just basing off of one game, they're gonna allow Kristaps to play more so on the perimeter, and they're gonna rebound as a team. Because if we look at it, Tatum was their leading rebounder. Tatum had 34 points, 3 for 8 from the 3-point line, 13-22 from the field. Jrue Holiday had 9 points for 2 assists, 4 rebounds. 3 blocks as a point guard. Don't be surprised if Jrue Holiday is in contention for Defensive Player of the Year this year. Derek White had 12 points, and Jaylen Brown had 11 points, 4-11 from the field, 0-4 from the 3-point line. I mean, how often is that going to happen? Al Horford came on the bench, 8 points and 7 rebounds, 2 assists, and Peyton Pritchard had 4 points and 1 rebound in 11 minutes off the bench. And that's going to be the typical rotation, it appears, for Boston. And New York, New York didn't really shoot the ball particularly well. They shot 37% from the field. They shot 43% from the 3-point line, which is pretty good. But they had 9 turnovers, it appears, and they had 47 rebounds compared to 46 for Boston. And Julius Randle had 14 points. Mitchell Robinson had 2 points. Jalen Brunson had 15 points and 6 assists. R.J. Barrett had 24 points and 3 rebounds and 2 assists. Quinn Grimes had 11 points and 1 rebound. Josh Hart had 7 points and 6 rebounds. DiVincenzo shot 0-4 from the field, 0 points. And Emmanuel Quickley had 24 points and 6 rebounds, and 4 assists. And I was telling people this last year that I think Quickley's going to evolve, and he's eventually going to be the starter. You might move Grimes to the bench, but you're gonna have to give Quickley more minutes. Thibodeau's gonna have to find ways to get Quickley more minutes, because now he's being impactful on the defensive end, not just on the offensive end, which is something he struggled with earlier in his career. But now he's starting to develop his defensive prowess, and he's being more intentional and more focused on defensive end, which is creating more scoring opportunities for him, because he's getting turnovers, which leads to faster points, which leads to easier shots. And I was impressed with what I saw from both Boston and New York. The only thing I'm worried about is the depth that Boston has. They don't have much depth, and will that be a cause for concern moving forward? And those are just some of the things that I picked up on during this matchup. But let me know what you guys think in the chat room. What do you guys think about what you saw from this matchup between Celtics and the Knicks? But with that being said, guys, that's it for our show for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's been a wonderful episode. If you haven't already, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well, so you guys can stay up to date on all of our latest content. And be sure to follow us on Patreon as well. You can do so by going to patreon.com, clicking on the search bar, and typing in "Sorry to Bother You" show. That way you can get access to all of our exclusive content that we post daily. And if you'd like to support our network and our company, you can do so by following the link in the ticker below. It's streamelements.com/sorry to bother you show/tip. Once again, it's streamelements.com/sorry to bother you show/tip. None of this is possible without you guys, the fans, so we're so grateful and honored for all the love and the support that you show us, and it's an honor and privilege to have this platform. But with that being said, guys, we'll be back again same time tomorrow, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with another episode of the show. Until then, stay safe, be vigilant, make smart decisions, and peace.